How many of you have been seeing numbers repeatedly over and over again? Maybe I'm not just the only one. So the word of the Lord today has to deal with numbers. And so again, like any other word, go take it to the Lord, ask the Holy Spirit for discernment to see if it is for you in this season. But once the Lord told me to be still and to rest, I started seeing certain numbers repeatedly, specifically the number 555. I went to rest at 5:55. I would wake up and go and work out at 5:55. And then again, I have different snapshots up here that I'll be showing that I took on my phone from my birth date on it was 5:55, and then yesterday when I posted one of my videos, it was at 5:55. So at this point I was like, okay, Lord, what are you trying to tell me about this number? And so I do not believe in angel numbers, but I do believe that the Lord does have meaning and significance in numbers and uses that in the word. So the number 5, after doing some research, I learned that it also represents God's grace, goodness, and favor. And we're going to key in on the word favor here. Many individuals will go into Isaiah 55:5 to discuss what 555 means, but for me, the favor is what's sticking out. We see that the number 5 in the word for the fivefold ministry. We see that there are 5 books of the Torah. Joshua lined up individuals in 5, and even the Lord was pierced in 5 different places. Jesus was pierced in 5 different places. But 555 means a time of transition, divine intervention, and spiritual growth. So if you've been seeing this number, maybe that's what that means for you. A time of transition or change and preparation in one's life. And we are then to trust in the divine timing and remain faithful in that. It is a call to embrace one's purpose. And that's what I've been talking a lot about. That is definitely what I am doing. But again, the 555 also in that sequence amplifies its significance of God's grace, goodness, and favor. And I want to stress the favor part because I believe that in this time, the Lord is showing all of us favor, especially his daughters and sons, that there is favor coming upon your life about situations that you've prayed for, things that you would never ever see come into fruition without God's hand. And so as I was reading in the book of Esther and trying to figure out what the Lord was trying to tell me through these numbers, I realized that favor is just all over Esther prior to her walking into her purpose and fulfilling her assignment. You see, in Esther 2:9, Esther is now in the palace. She was an orphan and was chosen to be a part of the women who would be prepared to be presented in front of the king. And in 2:9, Esther found favor with Haggai, who was the king's eunuch and who was in charge of the women. And we see in Esther 2:9, let me find that real quick. And it says here, now the young lady pleased him and found favor with him, so he quickly provided her with her cosmetics, food, gave her 7 choice maids from the king's palace, and transferred her and her maids to the best place in the harem. So Esther received favor. Then in 2:15 in the book of Esther, Esther found favor in the eyes of all who saw her. And so she even found favor in the people who saw her. And then again, that's the second place in that book that Esther finds favor. And then in 2:17, we read about Esther becoming queen, and she finds favor in the king's sight. And says the king loved Esther more than all the women, and she found favor and kindness with him more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. So we see a third verse in Esther that shows her favor. Then we fast forward to chapter 5 and verse 2, and it says, when the king saw Esther the queen Standing in the court, she obtained favor in his sight, and the king extended to Esther the golden scepter which was in his hand. And this was prior to her even being called to the court. She actually went ahead and went before the king without being called or beckoned on, and that was a no-no. But yet she found favor because the Lord had favor over her for her assignment. And so I believe that was already 1, 2, 3. That was the 4th time that she had found favor. And then in 5:8, she asks again if it pleases the king, and she finds favor in him. Would he attend a banquet that she was holding so that she could explain to the king her plight and the issues that her people were having? And he did come to her banquet. And then if we fast forward to 7:3, the Queen Esther replied, "If I have found favor in your sight, O king, and if it pleases the king, let my life be given me as my petition and my people as my request." And that was her last request, to help save her people. And he did request it. He heard her petition. And so favor upon favor was upon Esther in her assignment from before she stepped into it and while she was in it. That is to show you and me that 555 means that God's favor and goodness is upon us, and we are about to step into our purpose, our promise, our assignment. And as we do that, as we are obedient, as we listen to the Lord's guidance, he is going to show us favor. So this is a time of favor upon your life, and especially if you've been seeing 555, or even if you haven't been, I'm here to tell you that favor is upon you. All right, love. Talk to you soon.